welcome back to the Dynasty Football Maniacs. All right, guys, if you don't know what today is, let me tell you. Today is our year anniversary. On this date, last year, we released our first show. It was called Quarterbacks. It was an awful sound production, but we improved over the year. So now we're on episode 65. That is amazing. Episode 65. We're going to be talking about the tight ends today, rookies coming out. We all know the combine has started. They're into their couple days. It starts from February 24th to March the 3rd. 329 invitees. Some people are going to show up. Some people are going to go pro days. There's some people that weren't even invited, but they'll probably still get drafted. You got to think about that. That does happen. Pro days do matter. And the first pro day is going to be March the 11th, current schedule. And that's Kentucky and Tennessee. March 12th is Georgia. March 17th is UCLA. March 19th is Minnesota. March 21 is Michigan. 24th is Miami. And then on the 26th, three schools decide to do it. Boise State, Ohio State, Texas. And yes, I want to watch Army on the 27th. I don't care who you are. You need to be watching Army this year. And then on the 28th, Penn State. So others will be announced. We know Colorado's going to have their pro day. It's not been announced yet, but the reason why we know that is Shiloh was not invited to the combine, but doesn't mean he ain't going to get drafted. So just don't count him out. It's just who's ever opinion. But just a little quick tidbit on that stuff. I just want to let everybody know we are going to be keeping up with it. But today we're going to focus on tight ends, rookies coming out for the draft, and there is a bunch of them. So the participants that are coming out for the draft, I had it brought up.
Now, I'm going to go ahead and say, since the combine is going on right now, this list obviously that I made is obviously before the combine that actually starts. So obviously these will change, just like the rest of our rankings and lists, they will change as we go on through the year.
And that's how mine's prior because the tight ends haven't even got out there yet. So I'm not even paying attention to them guys right now. Um, so yeah, my list doesn't even pertain to what's going on in the combine. Same here. So our tier list is pre-combine, and that's why we're doing this. We're down to the last position. We got tight ends. I think we're going to hold off on the tight end NFL and skip them next week and probably just do the defensive players real quick. So we're caught up with the combine ending. And then we'll go back to the NFL players and then we'll do a show where we do a mock draft. We'll start sprinkling that in there and then we'll do some NFL rankings of where we think everybody is. What do you think about that, Austin?
I'm good with that.
Yeah. So right now there is
I will say though, we'll probably talk about this a little bit off topic, off of this camera and whatnot. But we do need to try to squeeze our prediction show in before free agency starts.
oh yeah, we got free agency around the corner. It's just one after another. We'll get it all in. We always do. We did last year.
Right,
We started at this time and we were able to
right now.
squeeze it
So
all in.
schedule is subject to change, but
Yeah, yeah, but
we
we're gonna
got
have some
yeah, we got a
interesting
lot.
topics.
We got a lot going on right now, but so subject is changed, but still keep on the lookout for shows.
That's right. So right now they have a total of 21 participants for tight ends at the combine. So that's a pretty good number. And some of the guys that are listed are in our rankings. So here we go. Starting off with tier one, I don't think we're going to even really debate this one, but we could. We could. I currently do have Tyler Warren, Penn State, Harold Fanning Jr., Bowling Green, and Colston Loveland from Michigan all in the tier one. I think they're all equivalent, equal bases. Them three are your top three picks for tight ends.
I'm good with that.
All right. So I mean, I knew we weren't really going to have a huge like disagreement on that, but you never know. I mean, sometimes things pop up, so we always you always got to ask, right?
Well, Right now, we are in agreement, so there will be no arguments right now.
All right. So the next one on the list, it'll be so tier one. Now we're going to tier two, guys. I got Elijah Oriole for Miami as tier two. I also have Terrence Ferguson from Oregon in tier two. And then looking at your list that you sent me,
I mean, I'm
you
fine with putting Terrence Ferguson in tier two and the Miami kid.
okay. And I'm looking at see who you had ranked. I'm pulling your list up right now.
I have Harold Fannin Jr. from Bowling Green.
Yeah, we got him in tier one.
And
Gunnar
yeah,
Helm from
and then Gunnar
Texas.
Helm, I had him around the same area as Miami guy and Terrence Ferguson. Well, I also have now this is just
Mason.
my list. I just have Mason Taylor squeezed in right in between the Miami and uh Ferguson as well. So
So let's talk about Mason here for a minute. Let's kind of make him a subject. This the whole point of the show is why we're here.
uh, he he did get to play in the Senior Bowl this year.
I'm bringing up my rankings right now. Stats, as I call them, the stats are gold. So let's look at these college tight ends. How they looking?
So I don't know if you have yours up yet, but from what I'm seeing right now, is a this is the best in career so far that he's had with LSU because he's so far from what I'm seeing, he played all 3 years with LSU. And in 2024, he had 55 receptions, 546 yards. He averaged 9.9. He also had 2 touchdowns, and that's actually pretty good for tight ends. Now, we have to remind you that these are tight ends. They do more than just one thing.
They're
Um,
blockers. They're setting up
yeah,
that field. They
right.
disguise
So
looks.
right, so they do more than just, your receivers. Yeah, they'll probably go block too, but in some cases, depending on how the run scheme's going, which side they're running to and stuff, but they're mostly out there actually catching the ball. They're not inside with the offensive linemen and doing chip blocks and actually, sometimes, blocking for the run, like inside opening a hole for the running back to get through. So they a little bit more they have a little bit more hats to wear.
Yeah, and you look at his average because one, every time he touches the ball, he makes an impact.
Mhm,
So all 3 years, he's averaging over 9 yards a touch, which is pretty impressive because compared to the receptions to a wide receiver and him, it's
mhm,
not even comparison. So he's only getting 55, or some of them wide receivers we were reading were getting 84. So his last year was 546 yards, 55 receptions. He had 2 touchdowns. Yards per game is 45.5 for a tight end. That's pretty impressive, actually. I mean, that means he's a receiving back that they can utilize on a first down, get me some yards, get me up the field. That's what you want. So, I
ah,
mean, yeah, I'm actually after looking at his stat, I was originally going to drop him to three. I think actually he should be up in the two with Gunner, Helms, and all the rest of them. He shouldn't be at a three. I mean,
okay,
yeah, I
good,
the more I look at him, it's like,
okay, good. I'm kinda glad
yeah,
you saw it, so
yeah. Well, see, that's something nice that happens between me and Austin. Players that I don't research as much as he would research or know more about, we tend to kind of like, I might have him lower rank, and I do the same thing. I might have one lowered rank, and I just realized I had his name spelt wrong, spelt with an A. There we go. Don't want to disrespect him. If I pronounce your name wrong, we can understand that, and that's probably a little bit forgivable. But if I pronounce your name wrong and spell it wrong, we need to address that. So I have no apologies for that. I mean, I need to get your name spelt correctly. Uh, yeah. So I mean, even though if you look at Gunner, yeah, they Texas relied more on the tight end for passing. So I mean, he had 60, but this is only see the difference between him and Mason is Mason was steady all 3 years. Gunner didn't really touch the ball until 24. Prior to that, he was just there. Now, every time he touched it, it was pretty good, but he wasn't your constant tight end. You have 3 good years of experience with Mason Taylor going into the pros from LSU, where you got 1 good year with Gunner. Even though he played the same amount of years, he wasn't the main tight end. And his last year in Texas was definitely very impressive. He played 16 games because they went through the playoffs. He had 60 receptions. He had 786 yards. He played a lot more games than Mason. And he averaged about 13.1 yards a run, which is really good, and had 7 touchdowns, which some of them came in the playoffs. But what I'm looking at is average yard of a game is equivalent to Mason's Taylor's. So Gunnar Helm is 49.1. What did I say Mason's was 45.5. I mean, the step is not that far off. When you play 4 or 5 more games than the other guy, your stats are going to look a little bit more robust, I would say. But he only had 55 receptions for Mason, 60 for Gunner. But either way, I believe that looks good. Like we have Elijah, Terrence, Gunner, and Mason all as tier 2. So that goes into tier 3. Now, I believe everybody we've named is probably on that combine list. I'm gonna look real quick, just take a glance. It's probably harder because it's not in that order. Because it's like I got it listed, but it's not in no specific order. So yeah, so Gunnar Helm is also he's at the combine. Colston Loveland's at the combine. Mason Taylor, Tyler Warren. Yeah, they're all there at the combine. So
I think
did Harold
majority of
Fanning, yeah, all them guys, everybody we
I
named
was
off.
I was gonna say I think majority of the people on our list are probably at the combine.
Well, there's only 21. I think we got more than 21 players going to be on our list probably.
I I only went up to 20, so
Yeah,
I left one person out, whoever that is. I don't know.
well, we're fixing to find out because I don't even know who you left out. That'd be that'd be the key. Let's find out who. All right, let's see. There's 21 participants currently. Let's see which one Austin decided to leave out. That'll be the whole thing of the show. All right, so let's get back to we're definitely going to be moving down to tier 3 now. So in tier 3, I believe Brock Lamp should be there. I believe I pronounced his name right.
Brr.
Lampy,
You say Brock Lamp?
Lampy from Northern Illinois.
I'm gonna have to look him up because I think that's the person I left out.
Oh, I don't think well, no, he might be on there. I'll have to look.
Because I don't even have him on my list. So
Well,
I'm gonna have to go look him up. Well, actually, I want you to talk to me about him while I look him up.
all right, we'll definitely go in that. So let's bring his stats up since you don't know much about him and see if I can sell you on this guy.
Okay, go ahead.
And let's be respectful. I'm gonna actually.
I'm trying to find this man.
Oh, I already got him pulled up. I'm
Well,
gonna.
go ahead. Go ahead.
So let me do something here. Take a pause for a second. I had looked his name up earlier and I thought I pronounced it right, but we're gonna fix it real quick.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, do that because I am not finding this man. Wonder if I'm typing it in wrong.
Intriguing. So let's dive into today's word. Lump, which means a device producing light,
Lump,
often electric, for illumination. Let's
lump,
say it all together. Lump,
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 lump. One more time.
lump.
Lump.
This
Lump.
is how you say it. Brock Lump, lump, lump.
Says with a
Lamp.
L-U.
No, LAMPE. Lump, limp.
L-A-M-P-E. Jacob Lump. All right, go ahead. Because I'm. And where does he play from? What school did he go to?
See, he's listed as a fullback and a linebacker, but he's being as a tight end.
So which one is he? Is he a fullback or is he a tight end or what is he?
They're listing him as a tight end.
Really? See, I ain't got him listed as a tight end. That's crazy. I must have missed him.
Yeah, after I'm looking at this, maybe I got this mixed up with something. Hold on. I think I turned something on. Hold on a minute. Let's just pull him off for right now.
Okay.
Because I think I mixed my list up here. I just see it now. My bad. I clicked on something else. Because now I don't even see my tight ends. It's like, what the hell am I looking at?
Okay.
I pulled up my wrong list. I apologize here. Let's just go ahead and click that back once.
Okay. No
All
one.
right.
I was getting confused for a minute.
Oh, I was doing my good. I did a really good job at messing with your head right there, didn't I?
Oh, you did good. I mean, I was looking every damn where.
All right. So, I know how to say his last name, but I don't know how to say his first name. So before we get started, I'm gonna learn his first name.
I'm pretty sure I know who you're talking about too.
We're on. We're on. Okay, that makes sense. We're on. All right. All right. So moving on to tier 3, we're gonna just delete all that other stuff in between there.
Okay.
Oron Gadsden II for Syracuse. Put him in a tier 3.
I agree with that.
So he is on my tight end list.
I know he's definitely on mine.
The next one I have is Thomas Fidone II for Nebraska.
Oh wow. Okay. All
What
right.
do you?
I need you to make this a talking point for me and try to sell me on him because I got him on my list. I usually have him ranked from 1 through 20, and I got him at 19. So I need you to convince me to bump him up and stuff, if you don't mind, good sir.
Well, I just liked it because he was at Nebraska. He looked good to me, but looking at his stats, maybe I have him up too high.
Oh,
I just remembered him in the Ohio State game. So
I mean, I mean, hey, sometimes the film shows it better than the stats do.
Yes. So let's drop him out there. Let's look at this here. What am I looking at? Boy, I'm all discombobulated today.
Oh wow. Are you sure you want to? I mean, I'll have to watch the film see if I see something that you're seeing. But
Well, I mean, 28 yards a gain. I think I was looking at the blocks and all that other stuff he was
mm,
doing. I mean, every time he touched the ball, he made an impact. He averaged 10 yards a carry. So he's carrying the ball just as good as any other tight end. The only difference is he has less receptions. So the quarterback didn't go to him as much. He only had 36 versus 55. He played 13 games. They played 14 games. If you do yard per run, each carry, each touch, he has an average of 10.4, which is equivalent to everybody we talked to before. So if the ball is given to him, he will definitely produce the yards if you're talking fantasy points. Now, looking at his stats and what the team used him for, he was more of a blocker. So yes, he could be a first down tight end or definitely open up tight end because 10 yards is what you want to get out of a tight end when you pass him the ball. He's a big guy. You want to be able to give him the ball. You want to be able to get that guaranteed first down. I see that in him, but he wasn't utilized as much as some of the other tight ends we talked previous. So I'm fine taking him down a notch out of tier 3. Let's see who you have for tier 3. Let's go with your list for a minute because it seems like mine's a little different than yours.
I know right behind Aronde or
I
Gadsden.
got Mitch Evans. I could go with Mitch Evans. Let's see
I
what he
do
looks.
have Mitchell Evans right behind Gadsden. So he would, in my list, he would be in the tier 3 range.
So let's look at his stats. I thought he would come right up.
Actually, Mitchell Evans. I got him pulled up. So last year, he had 43 receptions, 421 yards.
So I
Yeah,
mean, he's not too much more than who we just mentioned on Thomas Fidone.
he's a little better because they used him a little bit more than just
That doesn't mean
blocking.
he's better. It just means he was used more by that team.
I mean, he caught 3 touchdowns. How many did the other guy catch?
Well, that was the opportunity on the field.
I mean, just looking at stats here, that's all I'm doing.
So I
So
mean,
he's got 3 touchdowns. He averaged 9.8 a reception per yard.
so okay, so like you say, he had 3 touchdowns. The other guy had 2 touchdowns with less yards, but
The other guy that we just talked about, the
yeah,
Nebraska
yeah,
kid, he
yeah,
had
he
no
had.
touchdowns last year.
Oh, he had 2 touchdowns.
No, he had none.
Hold on. Let me double check. This is the thing I don't like about tight ends sometimes because on how the team uses you could affect like people's outlook on you. Like, how are you? Okay. So all his touchdowns came in 23. He had 4 in 23. You're right. He had 0 last year. So he had 4 the year before. And in the next year, he only had. And then also, I look at it, he had a rookie, I mean, a real young freshman, fresh in the school, um, quarterback. I bite my tongue. When I seen the kid play, I thought, well, this is going to be a good tight end for the NFL. Now, what I seen, and the Nebraska and Ohio State game was really tight. It was a really good game. Um, this guy's name got called a few times, so it was like that's why he stuck in my head. I looked him up, watched some tape. I was impressed with what I saw, but then I'm sitting back looking at the stats. The stats are not. See, that's the hard part of judging tight ends with stats because you'll really everybody we talk about after this, you'll be lucky if you hit over 500 yards. I mean, it's really yard to carry and what was he utilized on blocks and plays. things like that. I mean, but for fantasy, blocks doesn't matter. So at the end of the day, we're looking for touchdowns and yards to gain. Is this guy going to fit in a scheme where he could be a slash wide receiver? No. So that takes him down a couple notches because really anybody in the top 3 tiers should be considered a slash wide receiver. Um, that's where I'm starting to like wonder, like, so we'll drop him like right here for right now, and then we'll come back to him. But Mitch, I don't know if I could put him in a tier 3. I could see him in a tier 4. I think really the last wide receiver guy that we have up there probably would be Gadsden too. I mean, Syracuse. I mean, for yardage, I think everyone else below that we're going to talk about, they're not going to match compared to what we talked about in the beginning. Unless I'm missing somebody, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But the one that stands out the most out of the group, and I don't know where you have him ranked, is Luke from Iowa. I'm not sure where you have him on your list.
I have him ranked 10th, so that would be around in the tier 3, tier 4 range.
Anything from Iowa's good when it comes to
But
that.
if you want to throw him in tier 3, I'm fine with that.
No,
You
he's
don't?
not at see.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I'm looking at his stats. He's also the same kind of has the yard to gain. Had no touchdowns
Well,
last year, but
I'll be honest with you. I'd be really surprised if we see a lot of these tight ends make an impact on their first year.
I mean, the only ones I could really say up front, and it's nothing against Tyler Warren. Yes, he was great at Penn State, but I honestly believe Colston Loveland is probably your best tight end coming out of this whole group. Now, yes, I seen Harold Fanning at Bowling Green, but I'm talking about skill level. I still believe for wide receiver base, that is going to be your top guy. And the next one that could probably come close, that I don't see, the other two are right there with them. And the reason why I give them respect is for what they've done during the seasons. But I'm just more high on Colston. Colston did have an injury last year, so it kind of set him back slightly. But I still think he's probably your best tight end coming out of Michigan. So how about this? We stop at Gadsden and leave him in tier 3 and start with tier 4. Because I could put Mitch Evans in tier 4. Mitchell Evans. I'm sorry. Mitchell Evans. Let me get his name right. And then with that being said, I'm going to pull up your list because I want to see how your list is ranked because I had it up a minute ago and I pulled it down because I'm looking at my list. It seems like this year tight ends is not as like, I don't know.
I don't see a Sam Laporta or a Brock Bowers in this year's draft for tight ends. I mean, you might have a different opinion about that, but I don't see anybody on here
I
on
think
that
Colston
caliber.
could be that guy. I think Colston could do that if they give him that opportunity. But that's only if the opportunity's there. Let's just talk about that for a second before we move on to the rankings. Because I mean, I'm sitting here bringing his name up, and you're like, "Well, you ain't told me nothing about this guy, so how do you know?" So
I'm glad you could read my mind.
Yeah,
It's
so
a
let's talk
wonderful
about
thing.
let's talk about Colston Loveland. It's not because I like his name. This guy did play for the horrible team that hurts my feelings every year, but he's steady. I mean, his yards are considered the same as anybody else that we have ranked in the 1 and the 2. I mean, he had 56 receptions, 582 yards. He averaged 10.4 yards a carry for his last year. This is his injured year. He only played 10 games. 10 games. All the other guys we talked about has either played the full season or up to 16 games. He played 10, and he still had equivalent yards, and he had 5 touchdowns. The year they won the championship, he had 45 receptions, 649 yards. Average carry was 14.4. He had 4 touchdowns, and his average yards a game was 43.3, where this year his average yards a game was 58.2. No, he's not a rusher, but you do see some rushing stats over there, but they're not impressive. They're always minus. I think it was like a distraction play, a trick play that just never succeeded. Then his first year at the team, I'll just say it, Michigan. All due respect. 2022, I mean, he started off, he was sharing the backfield with someone else. And he still had 2 touchdowns, averaged 14.7 yards a touch, and he played 14 and then 15. So he played full seasons until last year. He had that minor injury that took him out. Then he come back at the end there. So I think he has similar stats. Like if you put a let's just compare. Laporte.
Oh, I just looked at his stats a while ago while you were talking about the love.
Yeah, I mean they're almost comparable. The only difference is I mean Sam Laporta. I mean really there's not a difference. The thing is, Sam Laporta came from Iowa. Iowa is gold. So that's where I kind of like look at that Iowa guy and I'm like, we might just want to put him in a tier. But the difference between that Iowa guy and Sam Laporta is Sam Laporta came with the stats. Um, he played a full season. One year he went into the Big Ten championship. So 2 years he had over 670 yards. I mean, that's pretty good. 53, 58 receptions, 3 touchdowns, 1 touchdown. So respectfully, yeah, I mean, Colston's comparable. It's not like I'm saying it like I'm saying it as a stretch. Now, everybody else on the thing, yes, they have the stats, but if you watch the plays, another good example of a game to watch Colston Loveland in was probably, even though they lost to the Texas game, would probably be a good one, I believe. And then the other one would have been, what was that other game he did really well in? But he had a couple good games where he did pretty well as a tight end. I mean, he just overall, I just think he's a pretty good pick. So let's move on. Let's go ahead and squeeze this out because this is like I'm more excited about who's already in the NFL as tight ends than what I got coming out. I mean, a lot of these guys are true. They're builders. I don't think I don't think these guys are out and they're going to just take, they're not no Trey McBride or anything like that. I mean, or Brock Bowers, any of them guys. So let's look at Luke. We're not going to put him in yet. What's your number 11 guy? What's his name?
Brant Kuthi, I believe.
Yeah, from Utah.
Yeah, I think that's how you say his name.
Take a look at this guy here. We're going to actually have to do some stat lookups here and try to pin this thing down here because this is going to be a little bit tougher. So he's played for a while. So he's had the COVID extra year because he's been back 2018. Stayed with Utah the whole time. He had a press of 2024. He probably stood out a little bit more. He only played in 9 games, had 35 receptions, 505 yards, 14.4 per carry, and 6 touchdowns. It's actually pretty impressive, but he suffered an injury. Let me explain something. Dalton Kincaid constantly suffered injuries at Utah. Utah abuses their tight ends like bad. So in 2019, he had 600 yards. He played a healthy season. Every time he played a healthy season, he was over 600 yards. I believe he should also be in tier 4 for the with Mitchell Evans. What do you think?
Oh yeah, I'm good with that.
Actually, probably be higher than that, but we're good with that for right now. And then we got Jake Bringenstool.
Yeah, I think that's how you say his last name.
Yeah. Let's look at him for a minute. We're going to go through these stats as we're going through these players.
He had a pretty good year last year from what I'm seeing.
Oh, definitely. He had a 530-yard season, 7 touchdowns. Actually, I'm surprised we have him down so low. Maybe we might want to consider. Uh, I guess we're fine putting him. Well, let's just keep him at a tier 4 with Mitchell Evans. Maybe it's Mitchell Evans we need to take down a notch. I'm looking at this. I'm starting to think that's who we need.
Let's just. I think we should. I think we should be cool with just leaving how it is right now.
I believe we are for pre combine.
Yeah,
This is
I think it'll
perfect.
be fine.
So now we're going to move into the next one. Moliki Monteveo from UCLA. Moliki Monteveo from UCLA. So let's take a look at his stats. Yeah, I said that slow. Moliki. Oh, definitely. Nice stats.
Oh
41
yeah.
receptions. Yeah, we'll definitely throw him up at that tier 2 with them. So let's stop for a minute and we got Moliki Matavo for UCLA. We're gonna drop him in this tier with Jake Bringstool. So here we go. We're gonna go and move on to tier 5. So right now we got tier 1, Tyler Warren from Penn State, then Harold Fanning Jr. from Bowling Green, then Colston Loveland of Michigan. And then number 2, we got Elijah from Miami, Terrence Gunner, and Mason. And then number 3, we got Gadsden. And then number 4, we got Mitchell, Evans, Brant, Jake, Brianstool, and Malik Matavio for tier 4. So moving into tier 5, what do you think about Jackson Halls?
I think I would be cool with putting him in tier 5. I th- I I have to watch a little bit more film on him because of well, Georgia Tech was really an interesting team last year. So and look for their offensive scheme, they ran the ball a lot, like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Hence their stats for him. But somebody in the NFL could see that as a plus because they like blocking tight ends too, which they'll still get potential on getting some receptions and stuff. So I would be okay with putting him in tier 5.
And we can also put Thomas Fido on the second with him from Nebraska in 5.
Yeah, we can do that.
Both blockers, both consistent when they do catch the ball.
Yeah, we can do that.
And then the next one is Bryson Nesbitt from North Carolina. What do you feel about him?
I say I say he when he did get the ball, he was another one that he was one of those other blockers, and I think most of tier you have a little bit more in tier 4, but a majority of the blocking tight ends that we're going to talk about is all going to be around the tier 5s and up going on. So I think we should put him in tier 5 just due to the fact when he had the opportunity to get the ball. I mean, he at least done something with those opportunities when he can. So I
Well, we got to
really
also think about he only played 7 games this year. So 7 games versus everyone. Yeah, he's only had 264 years. But now if you look at his full season, is where I'm at. I'm kind of impressed
yeah,
with his
because
full season's 500 yards,
he
over
had
14.
He had 2 years that's 500 over 500 yards.
Yeah,
The
that's a full
av-
season.
the average is 14.3 for both seasons. So
Yep.
and then he had 5 and 4 touchdowns. So either way, whenever he's plays the whole year, he does well. So I think he should be in tier 5.
All right. Another one in tier 5, Robbie Outs. I say his name right.
That's how I would say it. So,
And he's a blocking tight end.
yeah, he's another one of those that likes that is he was predominantly blocking most of his career, actually a lot of his career, if when he was on the field. But like I said, we're getting into the at this point with tight ends, we're really getting into the nitty gritty.
So let's go into okay, so we're gonna add him to actually let's make Robbie starting off. We're gonna move him down a slot here. Because really I don't think he should be with Nets. I think he should be in 6. So we'll put him with 6, and we'll also look up Benjamin Urasik of Georgia. Well, he originally started with Stanford, and he's the same. He's a blocker, same kind of stats as what we have with Robbie. So I mean, they're like brothers in arms, but at different schools. And I don't know if you guys would even want to say that for you Alabama and Georgia fans. You might be like, "What did he just say?"
It's probably not a good idea if you say that around each other. So I would not do that.
Not do that again. I could actually end up getting hurt.
There's a chance.
All right. How about Joshua Simon from South Carolina, another SEC school? So let's see what this young man has going on for him. Joshua Simon.
He actually did really good last year.
Yeah, so he definitely this full season, he probably had his best season with South Carolina. The year before, played a full season, probably more blocking, but didn't have really a yard carry. When he was at Western Kentucky, he was never only 1 year did he have over 400 yards, and that was his first year in 2019. So he played 4 years at Western Kentucky and 2 years at South Carolina. Uh, yeah, we'll definitely throw him there in tier 6.
Oh yeah, because he caught. Yeah, from what I'm seeing, yeah, he caught 7 touchdowns this past year.
Yeah, they utilized him in the red zone.
Yeah, they utilized him. He had 519 receptions yards. He had 40 receptions. Yeah, and he averaged reception wise 13 yards a reception. So yeah, I think he definitely deserves to be in this range.
Caden Priscorn from Houston. You're like, Ralph, you didn't say that right. Praise
Pierce Corn.
Pierce Corn. Yeah, I said that right then.
Pierce Corn.
Yeah, I said it right. So let's look at this young man here. He's actually pretty impressive. Not with Houston. He's with Ole Miss. You have him listed on your thing as Houston. We're looking at the same guy. Yeah. That's all right. You still there?
Yeah.
Just type him.
Yeah, you're more welcome to talk while I figure out why I put him in Houston.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. He never played for Houston.
Because my guy after him was from Houston.
Who's your guy after him? I want to know.
Malik Carr.
Malik Carr. Okay.
Yeah, he was from Houston. I just had the school switched.
No problem. So I'm looking for him. He wasn't even invited to the combine. Wow. Yeah, he's not even on here for the combine.
Well, he still got his pro day.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing for pro days.
Yeah, there's a couple guys here. Well, one of these guys are on my list, but a couple of them are not. But it's interesting. Let's see. We'll tier them out, see where they're at. So we got him. We're putting him in tier 6. We're going to change that to Ole Miss. Last school he played with. And we are going to add my next guy, Galvin Bartholomew. I almost messed up. Bartholomew. Yeah. I should be licking my lips on this. Pitt guy. Definitely had a decent year. I hate to put him in a tier 7, but we will.
I'm fine with that.
The next one is Jalen Conyers from Texas Tech. Do you have him?
Yeah, I actually do. Well, he's not on my top 20, but if I made a bigger list, he would be on it.
And then
Yeah.
CJ Dupree from Alabama.
That was another one I was gonna suggest. He actually has better stats than Robbie does.
Maybe we swap them.
If that's what you want to do, I'm fine with it.
Nah, yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna take Joshua Simmons, them out. We're gonna drop them down to tier 7 because them guys were really not that thing. We're gonna straighten this out. We're gonna take Jalen and Galvin and move them up because their stats are pretty decent. Joshua will probably leave. Move these guys over. Put Dupree up there in 6. All right, so let's see how many we got right now. We're at 23 tight ends. I think we had a bigger tight end list last year, did we not?
I would have to go back and look because I don't remember.
I thought we had a lot of tight ends coming out last year. It was like a huge list. I'd have to look too. So right now, let's run through this bad boy so we know where we're at. We got Tyler Warren for Penn State. We're starting there from the top. So we've got tier 7. We've straightened out 6 and 7. So we decided to move Robbie out, Alabama, Ben Yurcik, and Joshua Simon all to the tier 7 level. Okay. And then we moved Dupree, Jalen Conyers, Galvin, and Caden all to 6. So you got Tyler, Harold, and Colston, tier 1. Tier 2, you got Elijah, Terrence, Gunner, and Mason. And then you have Gadsden in number 3. Then you have Mitchell, Brant, Jake, and Malik in 4. And then you have Jackson, Thomas, and Bryson in 5. And then in 6, we have Galvin, Jalen, Caden, and CJ. And in 7, we got, rounding this off out of the 23 we named, we got Robbie, Ben, and Joshua Simons. Now, a couple of these guys are not listed as the 21 players that are there at the combine currently, but that's fine. You never know because pro days could change someone's outlook. But all these guys are there. Like most of the guys we have listed are there currently. Both Alabama guys are at the combine. They were invited. So we know they're there. Gunnar Helm, we know they're Brant. Who was it that we had named that wasn't there? I said, is it Ben Yurcik? Is he there? Or Benjamin, whatever you want to call him. I don't see his name.
I think Joshua Simon was one too. or
Yeah.
Caden Pierce scoring. One of them might have been it
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, they weren't there. So that means we still got one over here that we don't even have named off. Take a minute to try to find that guy. Oh, I know which one it is. We're gonna go ahead and put him on the ranking. And that we mentioned him earlier, but I thought we had him up too high, and I was gonna wait later to put him in. And that was Luke from Iowa. We'll put him in tier 7
Okay.
because they just stats weren't there for receiving. So we're looking at stats for impact to fantasy, not great tight ends. Some of these guys are going to be great tight ends. They're great blockers. They can set up a run play. A lot of things can happen. Um, I don't think this class is as large as some of the other classes we had the last 2 years. I believe the last 2 years has been a gift of tight ends. I think the class that we're looking at is your normal tight end. There's a few gifts in here, a few gems that might take a year to develop. They're not going to be your out. I'll have to agree with Austin. They're probably not going to be the guys that come out right then and make a statement. Your Brock Bowers, your Sam Laporta, even Kelsey. I mean, them guys came out and they made a statement. Kittle actually took a year and then he made a statement. That's what you're looking at right now. That kind of guy. And the ones I think out of that level could be your Colston Loveland, your Gunnar Helm, your Mason Taylor, your Harold Fanning, your Tyler Warren, your Elijah. Them guys could possibly be that guy. And anyone that's below that, even in these, doesn't mean that we have them in the tier 7. This is
So
pre-combine.
I'll go ahead and throw mine out since you said you like Loveland a lot.
Yeah.
I actually am growing on Terrence Ferguson a little bit. So, you have Loveland as somebody that can make impact. I have Terrence as one of those that won't actually maybe start off as one, but there's going to be a situation where he winds up just taking over, which is also just depends on where all these people land too. I mean,
Yeah,
he could
that's
he could land in the spot like right behind Trey McBride or Sam Laporta or something, and that would drastically change my opinion on him. Just like with anybody though that we talk about right now.
and them
Or
redheads, they stick together.
that too. Definitely do. It's us against the world.
It's you against the world. That's why he threw him up there. He couldn't handle that dark haired, nice, luscious mustache of Colston Loveland.
Two birds of a feather fly together.
That's right. Well, he's an Michigan guy, and I'm an Ohio State guy.
Who's a Michigan guy?
Colston,
Oh, well,
bless him.
you somehow, I don't know. I don't know how you did it, but you just somehow did it.
What?
Like a Michigan tight end.
Oh, I mean, a tight end's a tight end to me.
Well, you just brought him into the spotlight, which so
Yeah,
it's okay.
a little
It's
bit
okay.
higher.
You can secretly love the enemy in some spots. It's okay.
Yep. That's the only one I liked coming out of Michigan, right? Other than Mason Rudolph. I'm sorry, I like him. That's a defensive guy I will pick up in my draft if I can. Not Mason Rudolph.
I was about to say, well, what are you talking about?
uh, what's his name? Mason. Uh, oh God, that was the wrong guy, wasn't it? Hold on. Hold on. Oh my God, I can't believe I said that. Hold on, I get it. I'll get it right now.
Okay.
And Graham. Jesus. I'm sorry. They got him as an inner defender. Wow. Did not see that, but he's top one.
Well, they also have that corner too coming out. Will Johnson.
Yeah. That's who I was not. Yeah. So Mason Graham, he's a pretty good guy.
Hmm.
Wide receivers. We all know who the top wide receivers coming out. We already talked about that. Oh, I know what I clicked on. Look at that. I put the whole season like people that haven't even like declared. That's what was wrong on my list. Hold on. This is offline here. There. Okay. But yeah, I like a couple Michigan players. I like Colston Loveland. I like Mason Graham. Who was the other one you mentioned? Will Johnson.
Will Johnson.
Yes, he's a good one. I don't have nothing against the players that are coming out at the team. I mean, some of them are draftable, especially if I'm trying to win a fantasy league. I mean, that's what I'm looking at now. Tom Brady, he just sucked. I mean, he was a useless quarterback. I mean, who would ever draft him? I only had him on my fantasy team because I was made to put him on my team, and I won with him. So that's a whole different story.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
When you're winning with the guy, it's okay to have him on your team.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Doesn't matter where they come from. Even if they came from Auburn, you'd put them on your team, right?
We got to get some good players out of Auburn first before I do that.
Oh wow. Oh wow. I can't believe you said that out loud.
Well, I mean, the last Auburn player that was actually relevant, like really, really relevant in the NFL, was Cam Newton.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And how long ago has that been already?
Yeah, that is true. Well, guys, if you like the content, don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And what do you always say?
Make sure you share because sharing is caring.
That's right. So next week, we'll definitely, we're undecided what we're going to do, but we're going to pull something off. I want to say happy anniversary to us. This is our 1 year anniversary. Exciting times. And
Oh,
look forward to.
I have
Oh,
one more bit of news real quick.
go ahead.
Free agency this year starts March 12th. So thought I bring that out right now.
Ooh.
That's the reason why I said we gotta talk about our scheduling for the episodes. We might have to swing some things around a little bit and
Oh yeah,
stuff.
definitely. We'll swing it around because we don't want to forget that prediction for the free agents. You know, a couple of the top free agents are already out. Like they're been tagged.
Yeah, which it just makes it easier on who we're gonna pick and where they gonna go and stuff.
I think this year, I think we just pick our 10 players, and if we have the same, we'll just decide where we think we're going with them.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, I know last year we made it a little more difficult than I'm gonna do it this year. Last year we just made sure we each had a different player, and it was rough doing the backups. But I did pretty good last year. I mean, over 50% was right for me. I didn't put dream things in there. I put the real in there, reality, as I call it.
I mean, this is also fantasy that we're
I
talking about.
believe I have applied for a head coach job at many of these job offerings. I have sent my resume in with a hand drawn picture of my face, and I have been rejected on many accounts. But I still claim myself as a professional coach, even though I'm managing a fantasy football team.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
And now I'm
that's all
one
I'm gonna
level
say.
higher because now I'm playing college football, and I am now not just managing a team, but I am setting destinies for these players for the future of a world that does not exist for anybody else but me. Yes, I feel good about myself. How about you?
Okay. Whatever helps you sleep at
Hey,
night.
you never know. You know, one of these schools that are losing might say, hey, we're going to hire this idiot for one game and see how bad it could be. I mean, we've already lost 12, 14 games in a row. What could he do?
I mean, yeah, just like at the Giants, they'll give you a perfect example.
All I would ask from the Giants is my buyout would be, what would my buyout be? I would take $1 million.
And a lifetime supply of Krispy Kreme donuts.
I was actually going to ask for a massage, but okay.
Well, look.
Oh,
you get-
whoa. That was
oh,
Cleveland Browns, or was that Texans? I mean, oh, no, that's Deshaun
well,
Watson.
actually, now it's the Ravens kicker.
Oh, well, I mean, kickers get massages too. I mean, at least it's like,
He hung,
yeah,
he hung out with Watson too much.
I heard they went to school and they were roommates.
Well, I mean, they play in the same division, so I'm sure when they play, when they go to each other stadiums, after the game, they go hang out to their massage parlors and stuff.
I don't want to know no more. We don't need to talk about that. Oh, that's some funny stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't see any tight ends that are going to be sitting out of the combine this year. I think most of them are going to show up, play. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. All right. You guys, like I said, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. And as Austin always says, sharing is caring. So there you go.